When Sujith started talking to immigration lawyers, one of them called themselves an email lawyer instead of an immigration lawyer. That single conversation made him kill his original company, start a new one. Today, Candle AI saves lawyers 90 minutes a day. 90% of the people who try it end up paying for it. And more than half of his pipeline last quarter came from one conference. He's not a lawyer, he's an outsider who pivoted from B2C to B2B in 18 months. In this episode, he breaks down the go-to-market playbook, the pricing, the partnerships, the pivot, the channels. If you sell into law firms, you'll want to take notes. Taking legal tech to market, let's go. Sujith, in one sentence, who is Candle AI actually for? And what does a typical first sales conversation with a law firm sound like in 2026?
Candle AI is for any law firm who struggle with their emails, which is kind of ridiculous because when we talk to any law firm and we talk about the pain points around emails, they immediately stop us and be like, "You don't have to explain to us the pain point of our emails. We let me tell you our pain point." So it's a universal across the legal tech space, especially uh, in the firms, maybe not so much in-house counsel.
And what are those pain points with emails that they're typically facing?
So I'm outside. I come from outside of legal tech or legal space, right? When I got introduced to legal and legal as a service, one thing I realized is legal service is a very high touch customer service. If you don't hear back from a lawyer within 24 hours after an email, that is a high signal for low customer satisfaction. So what
Mm,
happens then is lawyers tend to want to like respond to emails fast, like keep them updated all the time, and what that makes the impact of that is the law firms are spending too much time on their emails. So per statistics, our statistics and as well as American Bar Association, an average lawyer spends up to half of their day on spending on emails, and that's not just lawyers, even paralegals, legal assistants do the same. And and then it becomes like, if you want to scale but keep the same high touch, what do? Like, you have to hire more people, and then that brings in additional operational cost in terms of just not just in salaries, but also like making sure everybody is aligned and on the same page. So that's where Candle AI comes in. It's an AI assistant to make sure that you can keep that high touch legal service while not scaling so much. Like, you keep the same number of people, they spend way less time on email admin.
yeah, gotcha. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, from my own dealings with attorneys in various forms, real estate, divorce, things like that, it's certainly that responsiveness is always key to me. Someone who comes back to me quickly. And as you know, I do a lot of work hiring for a company called Manifest Law, immigration attorneys in particular, and what they're always looking for from their attorneys from consultation reviews is that high responsiveness and that getting back to the customers, because you're right, it affects client ratings. So that's really cool. And you mentioned, of course, you are a technical founder. You're not a lawyer or ex-lawyer or anything like that. Has that cost you at all in terms of when you're trying to get deals over the line, or has it freed you up to make calls that a lawyer founder might not have made? What have been the advantages and disadvantages for you?
Yes, I'm an outsider. The only experience I had with legal service was through immigration, like my own immigration story. And the first thing that we started was an immigration service that's powered by AI called Nava. And from there, we pivoted to doing what's Candle. Um, so one thing I realized is that like, it's not very easy for for a person who is not in the legal space to build in legal tech. There's a lot of nuances, not a lot of terminologies and lingo that is very specific to legal. And um, and then it was hard in the beginning, but I got lucky with my co-founder who is a former lawyer and understands the space pretty well, and is also helpful in the sales in the beginning, especially in the first 10 customers. It's very hard to have a reputation or like a credibility when you come in as an outsider. Like, do you understand legal? And the initial advice I used to get when I got in legal spaces, you need to find a lawyer as a co-founder, who can be there in those calls with the lawyers, can resonate, have that like tribe mentality with other lawyers, and help us in the sales. So like I would say the very first few law firms we talked with came in either cold, but more importantly was in a relationship, like a friend of friend or ex-colleague, and that really helped us get started.
What does or what has or what did it rather the initial, you've got the product, uh, you want to take it to market. What did that kind of first 90 days look like in terms of you and the team, or you or the team going out to kind of win some business here?
Yeah, let me tell you a story how we got started. I think it's very interesting. So we were doing the AI immigration service, like sort of like what Manifest was doing. I think like if we continue doing, we would be like another Manifest. Um, but while we were doing that, this opportunity came along, which is American Immigration Lawyer Association normally have a tech conference in Dallas, and they select 15 startups to put on their spotlights. And at that time, we were still doing Nava, which is an immigration service. But since this opportunity came along, we were like, let's brainstorm and come up with something that we can pitch there. So we ourselves were facing this issue of email overload with our clients, and they would get mad if we don't get respond to them on time. Also, we had a lot of immigration lawyers we were working with, as part of that immigration service, because they would always vet the AI generated responses. And all of them, like a lot of them complained to us they were essentially email lawyers, right? And and that that led us to pitch this idea about an email assistant for lawyers in this conference. And as you know, in legal tech, being physically present, building those relationships is very important,
Mm.
especially in the early stages when you are looking to find a firm, a design partner who you can build it together with. So that exposure being there really helped us, um, to find the first few, like our first 6 months were just building, working hand in hand with those design partners and building it out before we had any, like proper sales. Like we want to just make sure it works. And since I come from immigration, my co-founder came from immigration, and we have a good relationship with the American Immigration Lawyer Association. Our initial few customers were all immigration lawyers, and it works really well for their use case, because it's a flat fee. They don't charge their customers per hour, right? So it's in the interest of the firm to be most efficient. And I think honestly, the entire industry is going in that direction, right? Where like Cloud for Legal can come in and generate a contract for you in a minute. Why are you like how can you now charge that for per hour? But I think it would make sense more to go to that flat fee basis, and immigration has been already doing that for a long time. So they are very tech forward, similar to PI, where they are also like contingency basis, and they want to be very tech forward. So the first 90 days after that was just building, to be honest, and also doing a lot of customer discovery and conversations with other firms in the meantime.
So your product now, are you just targeting immigration firms, or are you looking outside of that as well?
So we started with immigration, but then we got quickly pulled into other practice areas because everybody has an email problem. Um, and what we also recently introduced is a feature where users can track the amount of time they're spending on emails and bill the time for their emails, which is very useful for billable law firms. That's like outside of immigration, outside of personal injury. And yeah, that has also been like a huge success. That product launch has been a huge success. So right now I would say like we have immigration, personal injury, real estate, um, all of those, except maybe the B2B kind of workflows where, like, um, and yeah, and we tend to focus on ICPs, are small law firms, even though the big firms have the same problem. Um, as a young startup, we wanted to make sure that we have enough runway, and able to sell the product and get quick feedback. But if you go to like the really big AMLO 100 firms, the sales cycle can be like a year long, and who knows, we would be even around that long. So we want to just make sure that we are able to iterate on the product really fast by having a direct access to the lawyers, and making sure that works. So, and that strategy has really worked out for us.
Do you think that do you think, do you have aspirations to get to that kind of, call it enterprise level law firm or larger law firms, or do you want to be the solution for those smaller, more boutique style law firms?
So, I mean, the general advice is you cannot be everything for everyone, right? Like
Sure.
you have to make your ICPs happy, at least when you start out and you have limited resources. You want to make sure you're focused on those, especially if you're getting enough really good feedback and positive responses from them that it's really working out. I don't see a reason to immediately go to an enterprise law firm right now. But we have had a few conversations with the CEO of AmLaw 100 firms, AmLaw 20 firms, who have expressed the need and the pain problem that we validated. But as a young team, we are focused on helping our ICPs first.
Yeah, makes sense. And I guess these days, right now, what is the biggest win for you when it comes to signing up new customers? Is it, I've got one customer who they just go to 50 events a year and they pick up their customers that way? Or is it cold outreach? Is it marketing? What are you finding to be the most successful channel for you in terms of bringing in new business to Candle?
Yeah, since the beginning of the year, we have been experimenting with the different channels, right? And that's your general advice: is you try out different things and see what works for your product, for your market. So we have tried out, like LinkedIn cold like AI SDRs. We have tried cold emailing. We What we have seen is, from a success standpoint, what we are seeing is one, ads on Meta is one thing we are seeing a lot of success on, surprisingly. Shout out to Flytech, which is another legal tech fund. We are backed by legal tech fund. I know you want to ask about that as well. So they have been an amazing partner for us in providing these ads. We have also found a huge success in being at conferences. So we were at the ABA Tech Show conference in March in Chicago, and they have this Startup Alley competition where I would advise all startups who wants to like get out there to try and be there. You get to be on the stage at the first thing in the conference. That sets the stage for, for like a lot of people came to a booth saying, "Oh, I saw your pitch; it was amazing. Like I want to see the product and schedule a demo with you." So I think in the early stages you have to be a little bit more creative. Um, in making sure you make use of these opportunities that are available for early stage startups, which you might not have opportunity once you're big. You're overqualified for those.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And if you think about the next kind of 12, 18 months, if you had to, do you think that's the doubling down on the events and those kind of sponsored things? Do you think that's the way to go, or do you think it is more the meta type adverts? What do you think is going to get you to your next
Yeah,
level?
yeah. So we realized that ABA Tech Show was a huge success for us. Like we got maybe more than 50% of the leads we are getting the last 3 months from that, just from that show. So we are doubling down on conferences. So we have it's not like, I know, I was listening to Saul's interview right before this, and they said they go to 40 conferences in a year. We are not there yet. We are maybe like 5 conferences in the second half of the year, as a young startup, right? But conferences definitely is proving to be a really good ROI for us in terms of the leads that come from the marketing spend. We are also increasing our spend. It's kind of like there are, like, conferences don't happen every month, or like at least we don't go to every month conferences, and so there are these periods where you don't have enough conferences to get you the leads, and that's where the remaining of the marketing channels, which you can easily pump up or pump down with marketing spend. That's how we see the ad spends uh, during the desert times when there are no conferences. The third channel that we are really exploring and we want to push a lot is partnerships with other legal tech companies. And
Mm.
I think that's also superpower when you are an early stage startup, to get into in front of like your partners, customers. So when we go to these conferences, we make sure we chat with other legal tech vendors in the conference booth, make a good relationship with like a lot of personal friends, which ended up being partners in official sense later down the road. So we have maybe 5 or 6 top case management systems as our partners, and furthermore to announce in the coming months. And I think there's a lot of credibility that happens with those partnerships as a young startup. If you're already a partner with a bigger company, that gives you credibility. And some of these partners also help with co-selling or join GTMs with them. So like for example, 8am has been a great partner for us in doing some joint announcements on socials, and their sales team have seen the product. They know like um, how it works, and like if somebody comes with like I have an email problem and I use my case or Docker twice, they know how to channel them to Candle.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I think, yeah, partnerships are often underrated, and I think the value that they can add and bring you in front of a new audience is just absolutely huge. One thing I'm always interested to find out about is how businesses are pricing their products. So how have you come up with your kind of pricing structure that you
Yeah,
put together for your customers?
right. Pricing is both an art and a science, right? So we started. I remember like when we started, we thought we can price very high, considering the. I mean, it was a sort of naive thought process that okay, you're saving so much time, so I'm going to price it high. But then like we had a um, very close advisor slash customer who sort of took offense of that price and just left. And then we kind of like reduce the price from that point. And the thought process now is let's start small, and then let's see what's the response from the market. The general advice from like the YC pricing strategy is keep increasing the price until maybe 15% of the customers start pushing back on that price increase. That's kind of like the sweet spot. So at this point, we are gradually increasing the price. We haven't hit that point where anyone has yet pushed back on the price. If anything, people are saying like this is an amazing value for what you guys are providing, and it should be you just increase the price. So we are reconsidering to increase the price now. But I think the other aspect of this is having like volume discount. So like the things can really add up. And if you have flat pricing where whether it's 5 people or 50 people is the same price, then it can be a really high cost for that law firm, especially if they're small and they're conscious about the cost. So we added this volume based pricing where as the number of seats go up, the pricing also comes down to kind of um, reduce the overall cost on the law firm side. Plus, it also um, makes the decision a little bit more easier for them to buy more number of seats.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's pricing is interesting, and it's there's a service. I won't go into too much detail because I like the company, but there's a service I use for my business, which I really like it. I get something from it, but I don't think I get the value that it costs. And that feeling is a tough one to. It bothers me. I'm like, it's just a bit too much. And what you want a customer to feel like is you want them to feel like I can't believe I'm getting all this for this price. And then of course, then you're in, like you say, you're in a position where maybe you should bump it up. But it's a really tough balance to get.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's a lot of iteration back and forth and experimentation to come into that pricing. And plus, like maybe you add a new feature now that's way better. The product gets really better. You think that can be added as an add-on, you can always add that into the pricing later down. And I think it also depends also kind of like if you are VC backed versus you are bootstrapped, the pricing strategy will have to change. As a VC backed startup, you have the permission to just go all gaga on, like just try to capture the market as much as possible, even if the pricing is lower, with the caveat that you can always increase price down the road. But if you're bootstrapped, you have to, like which we were at when we were doing Nava, we are running on the revenue that we are getting at that point. So like you don't have a lot of, you want to make sure that you are getting at least a break even on the price, so that you're not running loss on every customer you're onboarding.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen the marketing for your business, which says a lot. I see it often 90 minutes saved per lawyer per day, which is really clear and makes it sound like a no-brainer for a customer. I think, obviously not a lawyer, but I think it sounds like that because obviously time is money, whatever you do. Where did that come from? How long did it take you to get to that very simple message, and how effective has that been in getting your product in front of the right people?
Yeah. So that's coming from our case study, especially with the with an immigration law firm who said their paralegals are now saving 90 minutes a day from our product. And it's how did we get to that? It's again, like iterating on the product. So the very first product demo that we showed at that original AILA conference in September 2024 was a crude product demo, right? Like it was like just 2 months after my baby was born, and like we had maybe like me and a part-time engineer working, and we had to build something very quickly. So we built a very, very quick prototype to show it. From there to where we are right now, where we have what we call the unified intelligence layer for legal inbox. We integrate with your case management systems, your legal research tools, and we integrate with Gmail, Outlook. We All those features came about by customer feedback, right? And when I say customer feedback, when I originally thought about it, was like I thought maybe customers would say like, I want this feature, I want that feature, but it was more like during sales call they would ask you, do you have this feature, because that's something we would need essentially before we can make a purchasing decision, and then you go ahead and build it so that they can buy it. Or you onboard somebody and they complain that oh, this is not working out for us, it's taking too much time, like too many clicks to do that, and then you optimize it, right? So it's not really them giving you feedback, it's more like they're complaining, or they're saying like, oh, without this we won't be able to buy it. And all those kind of feedback which we actively seek becomes the guiding force to build the product. And a very interesting thing is, once you incorporate one feedback, you see others saying that that's a very cool feature that we would also use. But there is also a balance, that there might be some features which are like very unique to a particular workflow in a law firm, and you don't want to force everybody to that workflow just because one person has it. Yeah, I think having those features, and become as it becomes more and more powerful, people are able to save a lot more time using Candle, but not paying extra for that additional savings in time that they have. It's crazy. We were looking at the engagement numbers, and we are seeing, on an average, 60 to 90 minutes spent by a user in Candle, um, and hopefully that's all they are spending on their emails, um, compared to like for 3 or 4 hours they were spending earlier. The other interesting engagement metric we saw is that there is a like 33% stickiness, meaning like 1 in 3 monthly active users are coming back every day to the product, which is very high for a productivity tool. So it again goes into the thought process that we want to work with the workflows of a law firms, which is why we have it integrated with Gmail and Outlook rather than building completely something from scratch.
Yeah, love that, love that. And you talked earlier on about obviously, Claude has made a big stamp into legal tech right now, and you've been doing this now for a couple of years, and you've made a big pivot along the way. What have you observed have been the big changes to what a go-to-market playbook might look like in 2026 compared to 2024? Say, what's been the big differences in how a company in your eyes needs to take their product to market within legal tech?
Yeah, I think everybody in the legal tech space probably would tell that there is a markable difference between law firms in 2024 and now, right? They are so much more AI forward. They have heard about Claude. They know what MCPs are. And I'm not saying it's hard to generalize, but I think there is a top 10% of the lawyers who are who are on top of these things. Um, and the way we were thinking about that initially was, okay, legal tech market is slow to adopt, so maybe we don't want to overwhelm them with all these high tech agentic features, but maybe we'll introduce it in due course. Versus now, it is the adoption is really picking up, meaning they want to see agentic like features in all the tools they're using, right? Because they are so used to maybe using Claude and connecting to their case management systems and their iManagers of the world, or their LexisNexis or Harvey. And when they come to Candle, they want a similar experience where they can connect with other tools as well. It's again that 10%, top 10% who is asking for it. But I think within the next 6 months, which we used to think maybe like in 2 years everyone will start asking for it, but I think that timeline has really shortened to maybe like, okay, in the next 6 months everyone will get used to having agentic workflows, and we need to be there as well. And I remember Sol was also having a similar conversation where they were like, yeah, we need to include agentic features that is now possible with the latest harnesses that Anthropic and everyone else have.
Absolutely. What's your average sales cycle?
So it's on an average maybe a month. We are trying to shorten it. With like right now we have like a 2 month free pilot or a trial that people can try out, and around 90% of people who try out the product wants to use it. So we have seen that working out really well. Now I think the challenge that we have is how can we get more people through our pipeline without having them to be onboarded, show them a demo. Like we want to have like a self sign up, use it, like it or not. Like especially if you are like a solo, you're already very tech savvy, you don't need hand holding, you can just sign up and start using it. So that's going to be one of our key initiatives for the next half of the year.
Yeah, and I think that's still, even if it's a month, that's still a pretty quick sales cycle. And I think it shows the adoption. I think is quicker now in law, and I think with Solve Intelligence, they're different kind of category and market, of course, but 21 days is their average sales cycle, which is pretty crazy. So I think the appetite is there now, even more so than a couple of years ago. And I think, look, as obviously your business is growing, doing well, you're going to be in a position soon where you will be bringing new people into the company. What, as a founder of a business, what are those kind of in your head and your eyes, and what are those must-haves you will need to bring people into the fold? Because it's obviously so important getting the right people in when you're when you're building a business.
Mm, I think having agency and an ownership mindset is number one, right? You cannot teach that to somebody. Like it has to be there. Everything else, any skill can be taught. So that's number one priority. And I used to say that going forward, every person should be a coder. Every person should be know how to code, seeing how things are progressing. But I recently have changed that thought process. I don't think that what's important is that a person knows how to code, because even coders don't code anymore. Like, I mean, they code, but it's not like in the traditional sense, right? Like it's mostly using AI. So I have pivoted to saying that I think anybody who is coming to Candle should be in a position and should be leveraging AI to do their work. Whether that's coding, like there's AI for coding, AI for marketing, AI for sales, using maybe Claude connected with your HubSpot, and evaluate, like check post hoc metrics using AI. I think I think people who are able to leverage AI and become a 10x, 100x person of themselves are the kind of people, especially in AI startups. Like we are looking out for those kind of people.
Yeah, I was actually wondering what you were going to say there. And AI adoption is absolutely, you can't exist in the tech landscape. I think unless you're an advocate and you're curious of AI. I was wondering when you said not everyone needs to code. I was wondering if you might say everybody needs to be able to sell.
That's true. Yeah, I think like all of us are selling, right? Like whether we are selling a company, selling to investors, selling to a girlfriend, trying to impress them. It's all sales. So I think it's very important to be able to sell, and a big part of that is just being honest and personable and friendly and build those relationships. If you are if you have if you're a jerk and people don't like to hang out with you, then at the end of the day, sales is a emotional decision. Everyone buys because they like you, or they like something about you they have seen, especially in legal, right? Like, I feel having that personal touch is very important. So uh, yeah, we do make sure that people who's coming in are a good team player and they work well with others, which is also kind of like selling their skills within the team. um, yeah. So yeah, no, I agree with you that sales is also important.
Yeah, and I think it's about everyone should be able to. Not everyone needs to be a sales person, but I think everyone should understand the problem that the company is solving, and if they get kind of if they're in an event or a conference or in a situation where it comes up, they can just quickly demonstrate, we save a lawyer 90 minutes every single day, that kind of thing. And I think that comes from a passion and being bought into that product that you're building, and that comes with some of those other traits you talked about. But Sujith, look, it's been awesome to talk to you and talk through the business. Final question: what does success look like for you and the team over the next 12 months? What will you 12 months time, picture that. Where are you at to make you feel like, yeah, where we want to be?
We are at a very pivotal moment in our company where we are starting to see hints of product market fit. We are all the metrics are showing good indicators, like the engagement is there, the conversions are there. um, and yeah, so at this point, what we want to make sure is that we are able to tell this good news to like other law firms, everyone out there, that you don't have to struggle with your emails. It's time to go back to move from your old ways of email chaos and hating your emails to be very systematic, get things done in an hour or two, and get actually to the work that's important for you. So marketing, scaling the product, scaling our sales is kind of the highest priority, while also continuing on that innovation and going agentic and all that. So some critical hires are coming down the road, is so marketing, especially since we are doing um, like small law firms. It's sort of like a B2C, but not really B2C kind of marketing, which we have to do. So growth is very important, while we are also trying to increase our ACV. So inside sales will also become important in that aspect. Um, and customer success, now that we have a lot of customers, it's between me and my co-founder Carl, we are not able to make everyone happy and cater to everyone. So hiring customer success people are also an important hire for the second half of the year.
Awesome. Well, look, I'll be rooting for you, and maybe in 12 months' time we can have another chat, and you can talk to me about the success of the business over the previous year. But thank you so much. Thanks for being a part of taking legal tech to market.
Thanks, Paul. It was amazing talking to you, and yeah, keep in touch.